Hello everyone, today I'm here with another LeetCode problem which is 1822, sign of the product of an array. The statement of problem is there is a function sign func x that returns 1 if x is positive, -1 if x is negative, 0 if x is equal to 0. You are given an integer array nums, let product be the product of all values in the array nums, return sign function product. Okay, so according to the statement we will have an input array as our input, and which will be this nums array. So what we have to do is we have to return the sign function. We have to get the product of all the values present in the array. Okay, so one by one we will get the product of all the values present in the array as described in the statement. And after getting the value, after getting the product of all the values of the input array, we will check that if the product value is positive. So we will, here in the statement we are denoting the product value as x. Okay, so if x value, or if the product of all the array values is equal to is positive, then we will return 1, and if the value is negative, then we will return -1, and if the product of all the values of the input array is equal to 0, then we will return 0. So this is very simple and easy problem. So here we can see in the example 1, this is the nums input array, and we will get the product of all these value, and here the product of all these value is 144. And here as described in the statement, that if the product value is positive, then we will return 1. So here the output is 1. So in this statement, the product of all the values of the input array is equal to 0. So we will return 0 as an output, because here in the statement it is clearly mentioned that if the product is equal to 0, then we have to return 0 as an output. And here in this example 3, when we will get the product of all these values, and then the output will be the product will be answer will be -1. And in the case as described in the statement, if the our answer is minus value, then we will return output -1. Okay, so this is very simple and easy question problem, LeetCode problem. Here are some constraints that nums dot length will be greater or equal to 1 and smaller or equal to 1000. It means that the length of the input array will be between 1 to 1000, and the values nums of I will be equal to greater or equal to -100 and smaller or equal to 100. So in between these the values of this num array will be, so this num array will contain positive as well as negative values as an input. Okay, so now let's move it to solution. So here I'm using Python 3 language. You can use any other language to code the solution. The solution is very simple and easy. So we will go through the statement again. So here in the statement it is clearly mentioned that we have a sign function. We will have a function, and in this function and that function will return this. So here we will declare a function, and we will give the name of the function as this. Okay, so here in this function, this is the function, and here in the function we have the x. Okay, and what we will do, so this x is actually this nums input array, because we first of all we have to get the product of all the values present in the input array. So here this x is representing this nums input array. Okay, so first of all we have to get the product of all the values present in the nums array, and to do that we have to traverse the each and every value of the input array. Okay, so we have to use the loop to traverse through the whole array. So here I am using for loop, and in the for loop I will get the value of the present at the each index one by one. Okay, so here I am using this x because now uh, our this is our input array. Okay, we are which we are passing in this function sign function. Okay, so what this will be do, this loop will traverse this input array one by one, get the value starting from the zero index, like at first iteration. And here in this variable the value will be -1. So if we are considering, let's consider example one. So if we are traversing example one or test case one through this loop, so here in this loop the value will become -1 at the first iteration, and in the second iteration the value will become -2, and in the third iteration the value of this variable will become -3, and so on. So what we are doing is we have to get the product of each even we have to get the product one by one. So at the first iteration the value of the other variable will be -1, so we will multiply this with the next variable, then the product of these two values in the third iteration we will multiply with this, and then after getting the product of these three values we will multiply with this value at the fourth iteration. So here I am initializing a variable. You can give any name, like I am giving this pro, and I am initializing this one, and this is to get the product of this nums array. So this pro will save the product of the whole the values product of whole nums array. Okay, so one by one what this pro will do, this will here, this will multiply products with each other with the this value. Okay, so at first this pro value is 1, so at first iteration this 1 multiply with this -1. In the second iteration the pro value will be -1 and this -1, and the value of this well variable will be -2, so this -2 multiply with the -1, and so on. And after traversing the whole array in this pro variable we will get the product of all the values present in the nums array. Okay, so here, and the reason to initialize this variable with 1 is because if we initialize this variable with 0, so we know that after multiplying with 0 any number will become 0. So here there could be any value, but here if the pro is equal to or initialized with a 0, then after multiplying with the pro every value of the input array will become 0. So that's why we are initializing this 1. Okay, so after traversing the whole array, this pro variable will consist of the products of all the values present in the nums array. Okay, so after that, after getting the product, what we have to do is we have to check this condition that if the product is equal, is positive, is negative, or is equal to 0. Okay, so here we will use if condition, that if this pro is greater than 0. So if the value or product of all the arrays, values of the arrays is greater than 0, it means that the product is positive. And if the product is positive, so according to the statement we have to return 1. So we will return 1 if here this pro or this product is equal to positive. Okay, so for the next condition, which is if the product is equal to negative, so here we will use this statement, and here we will check that if our product is smaller than 0, so it means that the product value is in negatives, because negative value is small are always smaller than 0. So we will check the condition if the product value is smaller than 0, so it means that we have to return -1. Okay, and here we have the third condition, which is if the value is equal to 0. So in this case we have to return 0. So here we we write all the three conditions as mentioned in the statement. So now what we will do, we will call our function, which is this sign function, and we will pass our input array. Here we will call this function, calling this function, and here in this x we have to pass our input array. Okay, so here we have to pass our input array, and we have to return the output of this function. So the output of this function will be 1 if the product value will be positive. The output of this function will be -1 if the product value will be is negative, and output of this product will be of this function will be 0 if the product value is equal to 0. Okay, so now let's run this. Okay, so the three test cases are passed. So now let's try to submit this and check if this our solution is acceptable for all the test cases or not. Okay, so here the solution is accepted by the lead code for all the test cases. So that's it for today. I hope you like the video. Please subscribe and like my video and share my video. Meet you in the next video. Goodbye.